When I first started growing tomatoes, or gardening again 5 or 6 years ago, I got in the back garden, I got late blight which killed everything, and it was quite demoralising. So not only didn't I do any gardening for a few weeks after that, I didn't actually do anything for a few weeks after that. So next year I decided to only get blight resistant tomatoes. So every year since, I've grown Lozano and Rosetto, and I tend to grow cherry tomatoes because they're less prone to blight and blossom end rot, and also I can grow them here in the front garden in containers. I don't actually know whether to call this a front garden or a front patio or a patio garden. It's got all these paving slabs, but it's south facing. We do actually have a sun, which I'll show you. It's up there somewhere. So this gets a lot of light after 9 o'clock in the morning. So I'm planning to only have tomatoes here in 2025, so everything else has to get evicted. So these two things here, they were actually in the hanging baskets up there for all summer, but I'm not going to have hanging baskets again next year, because the problem with hanging baskets, because that's so high and I had to use step ladders to get up to them, it meant I couldn't actually have any containers here, which is basically the centerpiece really. So once my tomatoes had finished in September and basically the hanging baskets had finished, I put the contents of the hanging baskets, one there and one there, so the trailing petunias still seem to be alive, so they seem to be a natural contender to go on top of the hugelkultur mound once it's finished, hopefully this week. And the dead bits here are dahlias, but presumably the tubers are still okay, so we'll see. I've got 6 dahlias here. I only started growing dahlias a couple of years ago, so I'm not really an expert. I've got some callas and cannas. I get those mixed up, so I think that one is. I think this one is full of small seeded ones that they've now been growing for 2 years as seeds, so they should be proper plants. Things I never actually planted them up. The sage is obvious one to go on the back slope, on the north slope of the hugelkultur bed, and I'll probably dump the thyme there as well. So that's another calla or canna. That's cosmos or zinnia, I get them mixed up. This is lovage, but that's finished now, and I've interplanted some daffodils with it. And this tub over here has got daffodils in it as well, so they should be over by the time we need to plant out tomatoes. I'm not going to start growing tomatoes till the 1st of March. But what I need are more tall containers like this, because if I've got trailing tomatoes like this year, the tomatoes from that one were touching the ground, so I don't really want that. So I need more like this. You see this one here, it's got like melted bits on it. That's because someone threw a cigarette butt in there, so the compost slowly burned at its own little speed and melted the pot until I chucked some water in it. So that's the front garden situation report.